Many years ago, there lived an arrogant and cruel young lord who ruled over a small village in the western hills of Japan. I have no use for old people in my village, he said arrogantly. They are neither useful nor able to work for a living. I therefore decree that anyone over 71 must be banished from the village and left in the mountains to die. What a dreadful decree! What a cruel and unreasonable Lord we have! The people of the village murmured, but the Lord punished anyone who disobeyed him. And so the villagers who turned 71 were tearfully carried into the mountains, never to return. One particular farmer was good to his mother, and the two of them lived happily together. However, as the years went by, the mother grew older, and before long she reached the terrible age of 71. If only I could somehow deceive the cruel Lord, the farmer thought. But there were records in the village books, and everyone knew that his mother had turned 71. Then one day the mother herself spoke of the Lord's dreaded decree. Well, my son, she said, the time has come for you to take me to the mountains. We must hurry before the Lord send his soldiers for you. She did not seem worried at all that she had to go to mountains to die. Forgive me, dear mother, for what I must do, the farmer said sadly, and next morning he lifted his mother on his shoulders and set off on the steep path towards the mountains. Up and up he climbed until the trees clustered close and the path was gone. There was no longer even the sound of the birds, and they heard only the soft wail of the wind in the trees. The son walked slowly, for he could not bear to think of leaving his old mother in the mountains. He climbed, not wanting to stop and leave her behind. Soon he heard his mother breaking off small twigs from the trees that they passed. Mother, what are you doing? He asked. Do not worry, my son, she answered gently. I am just marking the way so you will not get lost returning to village. The son stopped. Even now you are thinking of me? He asked. The mother nodded. Of course, my son, she replied. You will always be in my thoughts. How could it be otherwise? At that, the young farmer could bear it no longer. Mother, I can't leave you in the mountains to die at all alone, he said. We are going home, and no matter what the Lord does to punish me, I will never desert you again.
Stay hidden
So
in the
they
kitchen.
waited until the sun had set and lone star crept into the silent sky. Then, in the dark shadow of the night, the farmer carried his mother down the hill, and they returned quietly to their little house. The farmer dug a deep hole in the floor of his kitchen and made a small room where he could hide his mother. From that day, she spent all her time in the secret room, and the farmer carried meals to her there. The rest of the time, he was careful to work in the fields and act as though he lived alone. In this way, for almost 2 years, he kept his mother safely hidden, and no one in the village knew that she was there. Then one day there was a terrible commotion among the villagers, for Lord Higa of the town beyond the hills had threatened to attack their village and make it his own. Only one thing will spare you, Lord Higa announced. Bring me a box containing 1,000 ropes of ashes, and I will spare your village. The cruel young lord quickly gathered together all the wise men of his village. You are men of wisdom, he said. Surely you can tell me how to meet Lord Higgers' demands so our village can be spared. But the wise men shook their heads. It is impossible to make even one robe of ash, sir. They answered. How can we make 1,000? Fools, the Lord cried angrily. What good is your wisdom if you can't help me now? He then posted a notice in the village square offering a great reward of gold to any villagers who could help him save their village. The young farmer saw the notice as well and wondered what would happen to his mother if a new lord, even more terrible than their own, came to rule over them. When his mother saw the trouble looked on his face, she asked, "Why do you look so worried, my son?" The farmer told her of the impossible demand made by the Lord Higa. The village was to be spared, but his mother did not seem troubled at all. Instead, she laughed softly and said, "Why? That is not such an impossible task. All one has to do is soak ordinary rope in salt water and dry it well. When it is burned, it will hold its shape, and there is your rope of ash. Tell the villagers to hurry and find 1,000 pieces of rope." The farmer shook his head in amazement. "Mother, you are wonderfully wise," he said, and he rushed to tell the young lord what he must do. "You are wise, you are wiser than all the wise men of the village," the Lord said when he heard the farmer's solution, and he rewarded him with many pieces of gold. The thousands rope of ash were quickly made, and the village was spared. In a few days, however, there was another great commotion in the village, as Lord Higa sent yet another threat. This time he sent a log with small hole that was carved and bent 7 times through its length, and he demanded that a single piece of silk thread be threaded through the hole. "If you can't perform this task," the Lord threatened, I shall come to conquer your village." The young lord hurried once more to his wise men, but they all shook their heads in bewilderment. "A needle cannot bend its way through such curves," they moaned. "Again, we are faced with an impossible demand. Again, you act as stupid fools," the Lord said, stamping his foot impatiently. He then posted a second notice in the village square, asking villagers for their help. Once more, the young farmer hurried with new problem to his mother in her secret room. "Why, that is not so difficult," his mother said with a quick smile. "Put some sugar at one end of the hole, then tie an ant to a piece of silk thread and put it at the other end. He will weave his way in and out of the curves to get to the sugar, and he will take the silk thread with him." Once more, the Lord commended the young farmer and rewarded him with many pieces of gold. "You are a brilliant man. You have saved our village again," he said gratefully. But the Lord's troubles were not over even then. For a few days later, Lord Higa sent another demand. "This time you will undoubtedly fail, and then I shall make your village mine," he threatened. "Bring me a drum that makes sounds without being beaten." This time the wise men held their heads in their hands and moaned, "It is hopeless, it is hopeless. This time Lord Higa will attack us." The young farmer hurried home breathlessly. Mother, mother, we must solve another terrible problems, or Lord Higa will conquer our village. And he quickly told his mother about the impossible drum. His mother, however, smiled and answered, why, this is the easiest of them all. Make a drum with sides of the paper and put a bumblebee inside. As it tries to escape, it will buzz and beat itself against the paper, and you will have a drum that makes sounds without being beaten. The young farmer was amazed at his mother's wisdom. You are far wiser than any of the wise men in this village, he said, and he hurried to tell the young lord how to meet Lord Higa's third demand. When the Lord heard the answers, he was greatly impressed. Surely a young man like you can't be wiser than all my wise men, he said. Tell me honestly, who has helped you solve all these difficult problems? The young farmer could not lie. My lord, he began slowly. For the past 2 years, I have broken the law of the land, and I have kept my aged mother hidden beneath the floor of my house, and it is she who solved each one of your problems and saved the village from Lord Higa. I have been very wrong, he said finally, and I must ask the forgiveness of your mother and of all my people. Never again, he demanded that the old people of village be sent to the mountains to die. Rather, they will be treated with the respect and honor they deserve and share with us.